Hello, it's me and my pet, Jessica. And we're going to go over, this might look pretty familiar, something you've seen before. This is a Super 3x3x7 version 2. So what makes version 2 different from version 1? Well, with version 2, both of these are bandaged. By both of these, I mean the sides, the white and the yellow. In this case, just the top side is bandaged. The bottom side moves normally. But there's another twist. The other twist is that anything that I move down here, this becomes, along with this becomes immovable also. And if I move this up here, then this turns around as well. So it adds a twist to it. Basically what Witeden is doing is they're taking the cuboid theme and brilliantly varying it a little bit in order to put it into a cubic form. And now they're doing almost like what the crazy 3x3s did, is they variably bandage it to lend that degree of challenge. So it does put a little bit of a degree of challenge with this. So here's how I work through this. I don't know that this is the most efficient method, the best method, certainly probably not the fastest method, but this is just how I've kind of taken to doing it, because it does get a little confusing as you try to get all the sides in despite the variable bandaging.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. So what I'm going to do is, as we start to scramble it, as you can see, we can come over here, we can come over here, come up over, Jesse, you should be a comedian, then bring this up over here, and then start to scramble it like so. And as I'm doing this, I can turn this over here, but I'm not going to be scrambling the bottom much unless I bring it up to here. So I'm just going to keep doing this. And then after I do that, start to scramble it out of the cuboid form and shapeshift it. But let's do this a little bit more. Turn this over here, maybe bring this around here a few times. Just make sure that I'm keeping myself within the realm of getting a good scramble here. So that's pretty good in terms of what's going on over here. Like with all the 3x3 cubic, 3x3x7 cubic puzzles, we do end up with a quasi form of shape-shifting that happens. I don't know that I've got this messed up enough. Maybe if we go like this, there you go. Now we're talking. Okay, and once we have these all moved around, we start doing shape-shifting, turn it up, turn it across, and I'll just kind of take it the rest of the way. Abracadabra. There we go. Now we got it. So what's the overall approach that I'm going to do? Well, I actually have to take this in 2 3x3 type steps.
Green has to go to the green.
Yes, it does. That's a very, very good start. Green's got to go with the greens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it out of the cubic, out of the shapeshifted form, get it back to the cubic form. And the blue. I cannot forget the blue. And that's going to be for the purposes of getting all of these in. Once I do that, I'm going to have to do a little bit of a twist. There is a dog surfing on a dollar bill. Yeah. So here's what I'm going to do first. What I'm going to do is so the cross, I'm going to define my segments as what's on the outer areas here. I guess I don't need to do it that way, but that's what I've taken to doing. My first step is I'd like to solve all of the inners and the outers. So I'm going to try to make all of my circle cubes complete with outer edges and inner edges combined together. I'm going to be doing that by using the yellow layer because I think that's the circle layer that actually moves. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start putting yellows, I'm going to start putting the ones up here that I can put back into the proper position. So I'm going to move this here. Let's see if we can't put in its negative on the other side here. So maybe this guy over here. Let's do the negative on this side. By negative I mean, if this is white outer, yellow inner, then this will be yellow outer, white inner. So this is okay here. Maybe I can set these up as well. So I'll just move this over to here. And there's no real complicated strategy to do this. White, yellow will match with this. I want another white, yellow to match with this. Shouldn't be too hard to find, which is right over here. If I'm moving too fast, let me know. But it's fairly intuitive. So now that I have it here, I just move it twice, so all this is solved. Now I just continue that process, move this here, And why don't we go turn, 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 turn. Probably did that a little more complicated than I need to. This will move up here, and then find the other one. So again, this is pretty intuitive. So these are going to be fixed. Any other corners, if there were, we can easily put them in by the same way. But it looks like we've solved all the corners, so I'm just going to put all whites over here. Turn, turn, turn. I did something similar with Witeden 2-circle cube, where basically I'm just going to move this up in here. And last but not least, this guy over here. Turn, 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 and turn. So no problems, double turn and bang. So we can pretty easily get all the circles where they need to be. So my next step is I'm actually going to start to do something of a layer by layer method, and I'm going to put my yellow ones in first. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll try to get something that resembles a cross here. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit. Here's green one. Let's find green right over here. Move this up, bang. This one is in the right place, but I've got to get this rotated correctly. So turn, 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 and turn. And the next one here, blue, over here, turn, turn. Knock this one out, which is kind of what I wanted. And this is pink, which is going to go over here. So turn, boom, boom. Turn this down. Basically, I'm just matching these stripes over here. Fairly intuitive, I hope. Again, let me know if this is too fast. This is going to be defined as the color over here, which is orange, which will go with the center here. So move it up here to join it, then move it up here. So we should have something of a cross over here. So now we're just going to put the edges in. Green and pink. Green and pink right over here. So turn, turn, turn. This one is going to join our blue and pink right over here. So you can see I'm just sort of making the proper layers here. This guy, I would imagine, goes here. And this is the last one standing. Okay, so now that I've got the circle part, I'm basically putting these in. The next step is I'm just basically doing a 3x3 solve, and what I'm going to be doing is getting my centers, getting this middle stripe while I'm putting this in over here. This is just like the version 1 at this point. But you won't have a hard time talking me out of doing a 3x3 solve. Still find them fun, even after all these many months. And now green and pink. And bang, bang, zoom, zoom, pow. Pow, splat, splat. Okay, so we've got our middle back here, and I would just repeat this. F-R-U, R-I-U-I, F-I, F-R-U, R-I-U-I, F-I. All right, let's get our cross back here. 1, 2, down, and again, 2, down. Okay, these are in. Get our corners here, and nothing is where they should be except this. Forward, forward, back, 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 forward, forward, back. Okay, now we just roll this in. Turn, 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 turn. Okay, so after 2 Rubik's maneuvers, we've managed to get this back in, and we've managed to solve the 3x3 version of it. Okay, so the next step now, at this point, is we're going to do it layer by layer. Actually, let's get this in the right place here. We're going to do it layer by layer. So what we'll do is we'll put in an extended middle here so that we can now collapse it even further into a 3x3x5, a super 3x3x5, so to speak. So starting off with this, we'll get our cross here, which is easy. This level is going to borrow from the level up here. So I need a green one, which is here. So I double turn it, move it back, turn it back, move it in. So we're good over here. pink is good. I need to move the blue one in. Now before I turn it back, I know that orange is supposed to be on the other side, so I'm just going to line an orange one up here and move it in. So I've got my cross at the bottom. Now I'm just going to borrow up here for the corners. Green and pink. Here's a green and pink, but you can see it's the wrong one because it's going to flip when that happens. I don't have another green and pink to use, so I'm just going to go into the next one. Pink and blue. All right, I've got two to choose from, so one of them's got to be it. It's this one, which will turn upside down. Now I'm going to move these independently. So 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Remembering that that's going to place that. I'm going to create parity with this and with this. But no worries, that'll be plopped out later. So I'm going to hold it over here and continue to follow suit. Blue and orange right over here. This is the proper one. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Okay, so that took all that parity stuff out. So green and pink. I've got two to choose from. Might as well choose the right one. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R, because the wrong one would just make things complicated. All right, so this bottom layer is solved. Bearing in mind we have the parity here, which will be washed out when we do the top layer. So it turns out we have two sandwiches here. Now there's nothing fancy about what I'm doing, so I don't think I need to get much more into this, but basically I'm going to do a adjacent edge swap. 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Took all of our parities out. And now we have one more to do, which is these two. Now we're going to find a parity situation that we found with the 3x3x7 version 1. But let's see what happens. 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Okay, so that puts that in. But now we have parity here, and these are flip-flopped. And the reason why I do it this way, because this is the easy part. It's more difficult to get this parity out because it's just one that's here. But if I double turn this, this is an easier parity to get out because this is fine and these two need to be flipped. Or actually, these two need to be flipped. These two. So hold it over here and we're going to do our URF algorithm to get it out. Turning the U here and turning the U here. So it's going to be 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, then up one, 2U, then 2F, 2R, 2U, and we're good. So we have all of our middle layers in. We now have a super 3x3x5, as these middles will move as one. So how are we going to do this? Well, the way that I like to do this is we'll position the fixed one on the top. Because when I start moving things in from here, what I'm going to actually be doing is moving it from this side. See, if I move it here, I'm going to be changing this around. So I'm going to try to minimize my yellow movements as much as possible. So first, let's try to get our cross. Blue, orange, we need to put a green one in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this up, move it here, and grab a green one from up here. So here's a green one here. So we're going to go 2R, move it in, bring it back. So as such, we didn't offset anything here. How about next pink? Same thing. Move it here. Notice we're not changing this as I'm moving it. 2R. Move it in. 2R. And we're good. We didn't touch any of these. So we have our cross down over here. Now in order to move this, again, as long as I'm not doing any independent movements of this guy here, I'm not going to offset this. So I'm going to hold it here and I'm going to start putting these guys in. Blue and orange. Okay, here's a blue and orange over here. So this is going to turn in here. And luckily, I'm only going to be turning from the top here. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So that's it. We did create parity here, but that's not a problem. Now, what about this? What am I going to do about that? Well, I can't say, well, it'll, we'll just deal with it the next time around, because when I move this, I'm going to be offsetting that. So this is what I'm going to be doing with this puzzle that's different from the rest. To get this back and to keep this exactly where it is, I'm going to take this top part and do a 2U. And that basically puts it at opposite angles of the exchange here. Then I'm going to do an exchange by going 2R, 2U, 2R. What that exchange did is, in essence, it brought this back and it kept this here. So it basically is an extension of this move in order to make sure that I don't mess these guys up, because I don't want to have to do any movement with this when this is not a solid color. So now we move this over here, keeping it here because of this parity. And I'm looking for orange and green. So orange and green, orange and green. Here's an orange and green, and it's the right one. So let's practice that again. 2R, U, just with this layer, 2R, UI, 2R. This is where it needs to be. This was fixed, but now we have to get this back. So I'm going to go 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R. Just a very simple way of reconstituting this, and we didn't touch that. All right, so let's keep going. Pink and blue. So this is the twist to this puzzle. This is what makes it different from the rest. Nice going, Witeden. Anyway, this now, 2R, 2U, 2R, UI, 2R. So now to get this back, same thing. Move this across here, 2R, 2U, 2R. We've got this reconstituted back. We still have parity here. So green and pink. Find my green and pink. Here's my green and pink, same thing. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. And now we get this back before doing any movements. 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, and we got it. So basically this is how we get the bottom part without touching any of this. Now the top part. Well, what I need to do is, at this point, I need to kind of move these two as though they were one. Now I kind of got lucky here because this already has sandwiches everywhere. It might not have happened that way, but really it's just a matter of coordinating these things together. So in this particular situation, really we can isolate this because we wanted to get it to the point where we don't have to do any movements down here. Now it didn't have to happen this way. It could have happened where we'd have to do corner swaps. And if it comes like that, then you have to move these as though they were one. But here, just to show what happens in this very simple situation, we'll middle swap this, 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Creating parity here, that's okay. We'll move this into configuration here. 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Takes the parity out. However, as you've guessed, we have one more to go, which will land us into parity. 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, and 2R. So basically that puts us back into a parity situation here. We turn this because this is a lot easier to deal with, so we go from these guys here, and we can turn here without affecting the top layer here. It's going to be 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U, and this little twist to the 3x3x7 supercube is now solved. Here's another situation that might be a little more indicative of what you might find. You finish these, and now this is out of order and this is out of order. The whole key to this is you want to minimize any motions that'll go like this, which means I've got to keep these two together and try to coordinate these guys. So I see a sandwich over here and a sandwich over here, so I'm going to put both of those to the side, and by that token, the next movement will just give me sandwiches everywhere. So 2R, these guys move together. U, 2R, UI, 2R. Turn, turn, 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R. This is turned back. So what I now have is the same situation that I had before. It might take some doing and it might take some strategies, but eventually you'll get it. 2, 2R, 1, 2, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. But the whole key is to try to coordinate it where they're both together until such time occurs where they're kind of in sync, and eventually you can get it. U, R, F, U, U to F, R, U, and we got it back. So 3 by 3 by 7 version 2 has been conquered. On to the next.